Okay, so welcome to the first Life Happens podcast, I guess.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Mikochi. This is I think our third time recording this because of reasons.
It's not all my fault.
Okay, so what's our first topic?
Our first topic today is, since Jenny wants to keep it serious and not let me play around, our first topic today is video game stories that stick in our minds.
Okay, by the way, it's not because I wanted to go serious, it's because I was trying to talk about that story and then Tony kept on making faces beside me and I completely just brain fart and couldn't continue anymore. So anyways, what we're gonna talk about is like our most memorable video game story. So this excludes like the combat system and any other aspects of the game. It's just like for some reason like the story of the game just like sticks to our mind. Like it's the first thing we think of when we're talking about like most memorable game stories. So I'm guessing you're still deciding.
No, I actually already have my answer, but I'll let you go first. So
You already have your answer?
No, I've had my answer for like 2 days. I just didn't want.
You want to keep it suspenseful, pretty much.
Well, no, because I kept flip flopping.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was actually really hard because like when I think about it, but like at the end of the day, I kept coming back. You know, I kept going to the one I'm gonna say, and then I go to another, but then I kept jumping back to the original one that I wanted.
Okay, so we should probably say a disclaimer that this will probably most likely include spoilers.
Yeah, there's gonna be spoilers.
There's gonna be spoilers, so I'll probably cut the time where like we're talking about this game and then we'll talk about another game, and then just in case you want to play the game, like
actually, hon, why don't we say the games first? That way people can just stop right here, go play the game, then we'll say our games, and then like so that way they don't have to jump into. Because then they have to skip, into the podcast. So why don't you say yours first, and I'll say mine, and then we'll get into the spoilers.
Well, we'll say spoiler warning, and then
I'm not gonna say spoiler warning.
Okay, really? Yeah, okay, you're just gonna continue. I'll say spoiler warning before I continue into mine. Okay, so you don't want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go. I'll say mine first.
Okay.
Mine is Fallout 2. It's a PC game, so. Most of you, a lot of people know it, but probably more people are more familiar with Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, the more recent ones. But the one that sticks in my mind the most is Fallout 2. On to you, hon. What's yours?
Okay, so my game would be Contact. It's a DS game, and like, I bet like a lot of you probably never heard of this game before. It's like those kind of game that I think it didn't do very well because like it's just a very, I guess you can say, underdog game. It was I guess produced or developed by Atlas.
No, it's produced by Atlas.
Oh, produced by Atlas.
No, produced. Sorry, released. It was published by Atlas.
Published by Atlas. There you go. Yeah, so that's my most memorable story for the game.
Okay, so why don't you talk about yours first?
Okay, so since like I can't really remember like precisely what the whole story was about, like it's just the ending of the story that kind of just it stuck to my mind a lot, and I will describe the ending when I'm talking about it. So anyways, like essentially the story is I don't remember how this kid got lost or anything, but like he's stranded on an island, and this scientist he's flying his, I guess, little kind of a spaceship thing or whatever, and then like he crashes on this island and he lost all the energy cells that he needs for his ship. And these energy cells can be used as like weapons if
Is that easier?
Oh, that is easier. Okay, Tony just brought up the game. Like I was like looking through my wiki just to remember what it was about, but he just brought it up on his iPad. Yeah, so Terry is the main character, and he's stranded and he has no way of getting back. So
read the entire plot.
No, I'm not. So his only hopes of getting back is like, I guess, through the professor, and he offers to help him get back home Terry helps him get all the energy cells to power up his ship again. So I'm about to go into the spoilers now. Like, okay, so spoiler warning. The reason why this game like stuck in my head so much when we're talking about most memorable game is because like the ending made me feel so bad for the character. Like I felt like it was my fault that this happened to the character in the end. Like in the end, the professor so throughout the game, like the Terry is fighting what is supposedly the antagonist group, right? And then like so throughout the entire game we're fighting these characters because we believe these characters want the cells for probably weapons or like to take over the world of some sort. And this game is completely like the professor talks to you in like a fourth wall kind of way, like it breaks the fourth wall, and then you're kind of just like the user, but somehow you kind of also believe that you're just helping Terry get back home, right? So the very end, the professor escapes with the energy cells and just like drops Terry at the island that he was abandoned in. And in the end, Terry talks directly to you and say something like, "I know you were controlling me. Like, all those things I did, it wasn't me wanting to do it. You were controlling me to do it. And now I'm just stranded on this island." And, like, you see him so frustrated and trying to fight you through the game screen. And that was the ending that I got. Like, supposedly there was a continue, like, afterwards. There was another ending after that. I'm not sure if it's, like, a special true ending that you're supposed to get, but I didn't see that part. Like that part was my ending for me. Like this character was just really pissed at me, helping essentially the person that was supposed to help him get all the shit and use him and just drop him back to where he was and just completely abandon him.
Well, I remember the feeling you got a really bad ending.
No. This is actually just... It's part of the story.
Yeah, no, I just feel like you would be the one that would get, like, the super bad ending.
Yeah,
where the game character gets pissed at you.
But it's actually part of the story. And, like, it's just, like, throughout the entire game... Wait, this is still going. Yeah, okay. Throughout the entire game, I believe that I was helping this character. It's just like any other adventure, right? Like, you're going through this... You're going throughout this whole game thinking that you're doing the good thing, like you're doing the right thing. And then in the end, when that happened, I just like, I felt a bit attached to the character, I guess, because I'm thinking it's like, okay, I'm just gonna get him back home. And then I just felt so bad.
It's actually true. She did genuinely feel bad. It was actually really funny to see.
But you never see me play this game.
You told me about how...
Yeah, I told you about it, but you never actually see me. Like, okay, I'm just gonna say, like, when I played this game, it was, during the time afterwards, like, me and my friends were all playing MapleStory, which is an RPG online, right?
I think everybody knows what MapleStory is.
No, probably, but some people might not know.
Okay.
It's like an online RPG, and then everyone stopped playing, and I was actually just, like... I was still into it, but since everyone quit playing, like, I just felt out of the game, like, more and more. And then, like, this game was pretty much my kind of, like, feel for, like, the RPG I need. It just, like, seemed so nostalgic and everything. So, in the ending that I was supposed to get was, like, after the character was just, like, super pissed and knocking on the window or of the DS, like the bad guy is supposed to bring him back home, and then kind of essentially ask Terry to join them. She's not actually a bad guy. You just believe that she's a bad guy because she was also hunting down the professor and the character. So that I actually recommend that game. Like the combat system it's very straightforward. It's not like, it's not anything special, but it feels kind of nostalgic.
How dare you say it's not anything special?
It's not really special.
Well, it's like a classic, like,
yeah, but system. I mean, like, it's not anything, like, innovative. It's like you press a button towards like enemy, and then your character starts slapping it.
Well, yeah, that's because you didn't play Earthbound, did you? I think I've asked you this before. Like,
no, I didn't play Earthbound, but I think this is probably kind of similar to it.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Would you be interested in playing this?
No, because I already know like the great plot. You've already spoiled the plot for me, so. You don't have to keep hitting that.
Oh, I just want to make sure that it's actually recording.
Well, it's gonna keep recording anyways.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's Mikuchi with her traumatic story that she's trying to string together. I swear to you, she actually isn't reading off the wiki page. That's just actually how I
need some reminder.
Yeah, she that's how discombobulated her brain is when she's trying to remember plot.
Like I didn't remember most of the story. I just remember that ending.
And yet that was the one you chose. Okay, anyway.
Well, it stuck to me.
It's okay. We're not gonna judge you. Well, actually all your fans will judge you.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so mine was Fallout 2, and for those of you that haven't played it, it's like it's coincidentally with both of our RPGs kind of look super ass ghetto by today's standards. But when Fallout 2 came out, it wasn't ghetto. So when you guys go type in Fallout 2 and you're like, what the F? This is
mine's still kind of considered ghetto. It's 8-bit.
Yeah, I know, but both of them when mine came out, it wasn't ghetto. Yeah, yours chose to have that style. Mine,
it's awesome.
Mine was cutting edge at the time. So Fallout 2. For those of you that don't know it, the Fallout series is like an RPG series that's on computer and PC, which essentially you take control of a character in essentially the post-apocalyptic world after the Cold War happened and everybody dropped bombs on each other, and so this is America and for the most part California in that post-apocalyptic world, and everybody trying to survive. So that's kind of the premise of Fallout, and you play and Fallout, and it was considered innovative at the time because kind of beforehand all the RPGs were medieval fantasy kind of RPGs, and Fallout was kind of the first RPG to take it out of the dungeon and into this really kind of exciting different kind of world. Now, the reason Fallout stuck in my mind is it was introduced to me by my friend who I actually don't hang out with anymore, and I feel bad about that.
Aww.
But he introduced it to me, and it was so different than everything else I played, because I grew up playing RPGs of course I played the JRPGs, but when I was kind of going through a computer RPG phase, so I was playing Baldur's Gate, and those kind of games, the Dungeons and Dragons kind of RPGs, Icewind Dale. Wow, all these games are gonna look super ghetto when you people look them up. So my apologies when you actually look them up.
Don't you feel old?
No, I don't feel old.
I feel old.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
I feel super old, man.
No, it's cool. Don't worry about it. You haven't even looked them up, have you?
Well, I'm just thinking of the game I used to play and the games now. Now it's whoa!
Anyway, so, the reason I picked it for story-wise, why it stuck to me was, it was one of those first games that I played where, it had this variable, ending system. So, essentially, it's a very open-world kind of game. All your decisions make a reflection on you at the end of the game. Literally, you can beat this game without killing a single person in it. You can seriously negotiate your way throughout this entire game, and would not take part in the combat engine at all. You can have your character be a complete negotiator, a pacifist, and things like that. And you can actually successfully pass the game this way.
Oh, that's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't bind you down. So the reason I liked it was the story wise is it was one of those games where you played it, and at the end it had. It was before CG was really good, so it was a still shot cutscene of everything. So it shows you the fate of all your characters and all the cities you visited at the end of the game based on your decisions.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so for one example is I said I wouldn't give a spoiler, but here's a spoiler alert because I feel bad.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, but anyway, so you take, for example, one of the ones I remember the most is you get to this city called Vault City, which is essentially this totalitarian regime where, like, everybody that lives inside the city, they're called citizens, and they have super privileged lives. They want for nothing, best medical care, best everything. And everybody that lives on the outside are pretty much like second-rate people. They're worth nothing. They literally have to present like a little token pass that lets them walk in the city, and then you get kicked out at 6 p.m. So like neighboring to this city is this town called Gecko, which is filled with like these they're called ghouls, which are essentially people they're essentially used to be human, but they got hit by radiation, so their face is all melted off, and they look like dead zombies, essentially. But they're still people. But Gecko happens to sit on top of a nuclear power reactor, and Vault City has reached its limit of power. So, and part of when you get there, like a quest is the Gecko reactor is unstable, and you can go along this super long quest of getting the parts, negotiating with Gecko to fix the reactor, and then you're faced with a decision. You can like talk to the representatives of both and convince them how to proceed. Like, because now Gecko has this excess of power. They're a small little community that will never use that much power of an entire nuclear reactor. Vault City needs power. So you think you're a good person by going, hey, let's broker this deal between the two cities, and then you leave the town feeling great. So I went on, and there's like 8 other big settlements between me and the end game after I did that good thing. I thought, I left them in a great state. I get to the ending, I find out. Vault City used its military power to occupy Gecko, make the ghouls second-class citizens, and took control of the reactor. Because I had done that.
Oh.
Yeah, because I had done that, like, thing that I felt was such a good thing. That's what happened. It was like, so it was just one of those games that, like, kind of taught me, like, I played it when I was, like, 13, 14 or so.
So what year is this game?
Oh, it was made, like, ages ago.
Oh, wow.
It was a bit older. Like, I'll have to check the publishing date. I'll look it up later. Mm-hmm. But it is an older game. But, like, so when I played, it was, like, one of those kind of first games that, like, I got that taught me that there's consequences, and not necessarily consequences you expect. Because, you kind of, like, have this idea that you do a good thing and then good things happen. But, like, this is one of those kind of games where the story taught me you do a good thing and not necessarily something good will happen from it. Like, I genuinely thought I had left them in a better space than when I met them. And, like, look what happened, right?
You just, like, fucked them over.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Like, it's like they became second-class citizens. They were occupied by the Vault City security forces. And, like, and they said, and they literally say in the ending cutscene, because of your actions, this happens.
Good job, motherfucker! You just screw them over.
Yeah, it was like this genuinely like really bad thing. I felt like I had done like a terrible thing, and like yeah, it's like it was just one of those games. And like there's like I could go on and on about the very variable like endings that I got in that game. Like I played that game honestly. I would have to say that is the game I played the most. Because it was before I had it was when I was, 14, I didn't have a super great computer. My parents bought me a computer, and I kind of had to live with that one. It was one of the few games I could, like, actually run and play consistently. And, like, because there's so much variation, I played the thing to death. It was, like, honestly one of my favorite computer games, and I would play it again today. And, like, I played that game, like, I have to say, I did full run-throughs of that game, like, 8 to 10 times, I think.
Oh, wow. Just to see the endings?
Yeah, from beginning to end, yeah. Like, honestly, like, I did, and it's one of those games where it keeps track of your karma, so you can be, like, a good person and a bad person, and people in the cities react to your reputation. So, like, for example, one time in the game, I shot a kid by accident because he was a stray bullet, and you got the trait, child killer, and you walk into civilized places, they will spit and run you out of town with, like, pitchforks.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, like, because...
that kind of mechanic.
Yeah, it's really good, and, like, so, honestly, people, like, I'm sure you guys have played, like, Bethesda's Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. They did a great job of, like, taking the Fallout franchise and, like, taking it to the next level. But, like, always the grassroots will be, like, Interplay and Fallout 1 and 2. who were the developers of Fallout before Bethesda, who made Elder Scrolls, took over. So, like, honestly, people, like, the graphics are gonna look super ghetto. It's available, but I can tell you Fallout 1 and 2 are available on Steam for, like, super cheap. And if you ever just want to kill some time and try it, I would recommend it. You will not... It's an experience of a game, like, that probably doesn't seem so innovative now, but back then, like, shit, it was, like, honestly... Like, it was so different than everything else. It was
like that.
It was so different than everything else that was available, and I genuinely love the story because of how open it was.
Come on, like, remember if we, like, when we first got... Do you have a Nintendo 64?
No, I had my friend's Nintendo 64.
Okay, anyways, like, when I first played Nintendo 64, I was like, whoa, the graphics so cool! And now you look back and it's like, wow, the people look blocky as shit. And then, like, the game lags like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to play Mario Kart and you're like, oh, okay.
Okay, there's a context behind this, because me and Jenny were at PAX, and she had never played GoldenEye when she was younger. And, like, to me, like, for everybody, like, else in the world that isn't Jenny, they all played GoldenEye on their N64s.
How do you know? I have a lot of younger readers.
It's okay. It's cool.
Okay?
Yeah, it's cool.
They
totally played GoldenEye.
They played it anyways.
Yeah, you're the only one that hasn't played GoldenEye.
Well, don't I feel left out?
Yeah, exactly. You should. You feel terrible, actually.
Oh.
But anyways, like, when we replayed it, like, because I had this, like, golden idea in my mind that GoldenEye was awesome. And then I played it.
Was it as awesome?
And then I played it. I'm like, holy shit, this game is so ghetto. This game is so ghetto, but it's so fun because it's so ghetto.
It's such a... Oh, the cameras are such assholes.
But anyways, like, I'm sure you had some honorable mentions, though, that you want to talk about.
Well, that's my phone. Hold on a sec. I'll cut it out. Hi.
I'm sure you have some honorable mentions you want to mention, because I have honorable mentions I want to talk about.
Like, I don't really know. I just have, there's a lot of games that have, like, really good stories and stuff, like, you know, Phoenix, at least for me, like, Phoenix Wright, Ghost Trick, and, like, Professor Layton, the Unwound Future and stuff.
I'm surprised you didn't pick a Layton game.
Well, cause...
I'm actually a little bit shocked you didn't pick a Layton
No,
game.
because, like, I'm picking the game based on, like, for some reason, this story, like, this part of the story was just so effective to me that it just stuck in my mind.
But, like, spoiler, but you cried during a Layton game.
I cried during, like, most of the Layton game. Probably, like, all the Layton games, except the fourth one, I think.
You, like, cried when, spoiler, Claire died.
Well, yeah, but... Like, that's why I say...
I guess that's not really a spoiler.
That's why I say, like, Unwound Future. But then, like, it's... Like I said, like, all the stories are really good, but for some reason, Contact
stuck with you? Okay.
Yeah, Contact stuck with me.
Okay, so my honorable mentions are... I'll cop out again and say Chrono Trigger, because that was one of the other... It wasn't as advanced as Fallout's whole variable ending system, but, like, there were so many different ways you could end that game. Like, you could end it at, depending on, you could, essentially, once you got to a certain point, you could fight the end boss at any time. And you could actually skip, like, 80% of the game's content and fight the end boss.
Oh, that's terrible.
But you'll get a completely different ending. Because developments won't have happened.
How many endings are there?
8, I think.
Oh. I like those kind of games with, like, different endings.
8 distinct endings, too. Like, they're not, like... slight variation.
To be completely honest, I really want to try Catherine, just because, like, even though I've seen all the endings, it's just interesting to me how, like, Catherine is kind of, like, based on the things you do, and, like, what you do in it, like, you turn out to have... You treat the relationship differently in Catherine.
But, okay, so other honorable mentions, I'm gonna go with... so I said Chrono Trigger because I have to. I honestly, that was actually one of my flip-flop ones. Other ones I'll say, for those of us that beat it, which I know are not that many people in the world, and, because it's a really long game, but Final Fantasy Tactics, the PlayStation one, not like the original PlayStation one. So I guess for those that have PSPs now, and on the PS Network, it's Tactics War of the Lions. It was really just one of those great story games that, like, was completely unexpected to me. I won't say much about it, because, like, I think it'll ruin it for you for those that will play it. But honestly, I really enjoyed that story. And the last one I'm going to say is I have to give a shout out to the first Bioshock. That one was the one I flip-flopped between Fallout and the most. Just for spoilers, just for the if you would be so kind. So for everybody that has played Bioshock, you'll know what I mean.
That just sounds so interesting to me, actually.
Yeah,
when you were describing it.
Yeah, like, I don't want to say any more for those of us that haven't played it, but, like, I know everybody's talking about Bioshock Infinite, and I love Infinite. It's really great, but to me, the biggest impact and honestly, the biggest thing Infinite had to live up to was the shadow of If You Would Be So Kind. So, it tried to, and, like, I'd say it did its best, but still, you cannot live up to that shocking story ending. So, I won't say any more, like, than that, but it's definitely worth a playthrough. It's a short game, honestly, so if you wanted to kill a day or two, you could honestly get through it if you aren't a completionist. If you just want to get through the story. And yeah, those are my honorable mentions, and they were a tough one. So
you do notice we do have similarities in what we choose. Somewhat. There's some sort of twist in there.
Well, yeah, but like I think you are more interested in like kind of a meta experience, whereas I like the variable endings. I definitely lean towards.
I think for me, like I'm more affected by I'm more affected by how the characters feel. How the characters feel. It's like how what you do just like affect them in whatever sort of way. Like yours is more of like different endings. I do like different endings.
I love different endings. Honestly, if any developer ever hears this and you want to make a game tailored for me,
no developers are gonna hear this.
If any developers happen to hear this. If you want to make a game tailored directly for me, have, like, 150 different endings.
Are you sure you want to play that?
And then, like, tell me there's 150 different endings based on what you do. And then you will, like, freaking ruin my life for, like, a year and a half. Actually, there is a game like that.
Really?
Yeah.
How many endings?
No, there's not 150 different endings, but Star Ocean, the second story.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, going into that game, your party, there's like different branching arcs of the game where your party changes, and so you won't even hear, even from the first get-go, you pick your main character, and those main characters have different party members, and the other side, you'll never see the other party member's side.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so like from the very start of the game, you are already lost half the story.
Oh.
So like if that's the kind of game you want to ruin my life with, then that's what you should make. Make another Star Ocean, the second story. Star Ocean 3 wasn't as good. But anyway, so I think we're dragging on here. What are we at?
No, we still have a few minutes. Actually 4 minutes probably.
Yeah, we're dragging on here, but so that's my top pick for stories. So as a review, I picked Fallout 2, and wanted to give a shout out to Bioshock and Chrono Trigger, and Honey here picked Contact.
Contact, yes.
And she gave a shout out to her favorite boy, Professor Layton.
Oh yes, the professor.
Oh,
and don't you just want to touch that top hat?
No, I don't. In fact, I would prefer if he just wasn't around.
Anyways, okay, so if you actually stuck out to the end of this podcast, you are Tony talks a lot.
I talk a lot, but
over half of this podcast is probably just you rambling on about something.
Really, but like but when you're podcasting, it's like I'm gonna.
I have no idea what you're.
Listen to yourself out there. You like jump so often.
I do jump often because I'm thinking about something else, and then I just have to say it. Okay.
Anyway, so this is us signing off. Hope you enjoyed this first podcast.
I did not even finish what I was talking about.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought
I was gonna say, if you stuck to the end of this, thank you. And if you want to hear us talk about any like random topics, like feel free to just suggest it. We try to come up with a few different ones that might be interesting, but it's always nice to have some suggestions as well.
Yeah, because what's interesting to us isn't necessarily interesting to you guys.
Yeah, for
sure. If you like us, we love talking about video games. And honestly, it's probably like 80% of our normal conversation.
Talk about anything else,
yeah, but we'll talk about anything really. So if you guys are curious, feel free to post, and we will consider it for a topic of the next podcast when Jenny doesn't finish her comics on time. Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that. That's the reason these podcasts happen, because Jenny can't finish her comics on time.
Well, I have full-time work, so it's kind of hard to keep that on track. Anyways,
so
honey,
just
try not to drag this on.
Okay.
Alright, and we're also thinking about doing Let's Plays someday, so if you would be interested in that, feel free to let us know, and we'll try to make that happen as well.
Yeah, so we're asking a lot of you guys, so... So, now can I sign off?
Yeah,
okay, so this is Tony and Mikuchi signing off. Hope you enjoyed our first podcast, and take care, guys.
Bye.
Why with the creepy voice?